Hi, I'm Kenneth, and this is the Unspeakable Vice podcast, where we talk about talking about sex. Sex is a dirty word, a taboo, something that just isn't talked about, and we're about to dig into why. I recently got a chance to sit down with a couple fellow students of mine. It was an honor and a privilege to get to talk with Zaria and Taylor, who are undergraduate students here at Wayne State University, and they started a student club, a student organization called Real Sex Ed. And the idea of the organization is to give students a chance to ask real honest questions about sex and to have real honest conversations. Since this is exactly what I'm all about, I really enjoyed the opportunity to hear their ideas about how they got started with this idea and where they hope it'll go.
Do you want me to go first? Okay. Hi, my name's Zaria. I'm a student at Wayne State University. I'm doing a double major in gender studies and economics. I'm president and founder of this club called Real Sex Ed. We talk about different topics relating to sex, so like we go from like masturbation, pleasure, orgasm, like everything and anything under the sun related to sex, relationships, anything just within that realm, honestly.
Hi, my name is Taylor. I am a senior and I'm majoring in history with a double minor in art history and Italian. Yeah, I'm majoring in history with a double minor in Italian and art history, and I am the vice president of Real Sex Ed.
Cool. So, how did you guys get the idea to start this club?
Zaria, do you want to go first?
I think I was just like, I don't know. Basically what happened was I was just, all kind of started trace it back to like high school and just being, in shitty relationships, having a poor relationship with my body and like how I viewed myself, like not just like sexual confidence wise, but just in general. So then I came to college and I just really, I don't know, I just decided that I was going to change my ways. Like I met my partner that I'm with now and I decided like this is shit. Like sorry, I don't know if I can cuss, but this is crap. Like, I really want to feel better about myself, so I started educating myself about like sex and relationships and how to be more sexually confident. And then I think it was over winter break, or I'd been pondering it like last year, and I was just like, I really want to start this club because I feel like I've talked to enough people about very similar issues relating to sex, like confidence. And everyone's kind of struggling with fairly similar things. So why not just make a club, a space where people can go to talk about these different things? And I think I just, Taylor, did I just ask you to be my VP?
Yeah, it was like the whole club was your idea, and I was totally behind it. Like you worked really hard to get this club. Like it was really cool to see you like fill everything out and like go through the process and like get the club registered, and like you were determined to make this club happen, and you did, and like it's really cool. But yeah, just to piggyback off of what Zaria said, I've actually learned a lot from Zaria as far as like sexual confidence and like being comfortable with my body. Because I as well, like in high school, my sexual experiences weren't very positive, to say the least.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was and I'm sure we'll get into that more later, but like, when I think of like my high school sexual experiences, it was more so like centered around the guy and like what he wanted to do and like all that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds really familiar. I hear a lot of times it seems like sex is centered around the guy.
Yeah, and it was definitely Zaria that helped me realize that should not be the case at all. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned...
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just adding on to it's such like a chronic idea. It's like sex to be circled around the guy. Like that's such crap. So we need to dismiss that at any chance we get.
There you go.
Right.
I love it. So I was going to ask. You mentioned a couple of the different topics that that are talked about in the club. What do you think are the ones that people are most interested in?
Um,
Do you
I'm
say?
sorry. Hold on 1 second. I'm putting in my headphones.
I think I don't know. So, I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know, but I think everything's a good topic. People maybe with sexual confidence, that would be a good one. We just recently had, I mean, honestly, with school and everything being online now, I think it is more difficult for people to, get on all the time and participate, which is why we've changed the formatting of the schedule of our club. But back when it was in person, I'd say like anything around like maybe sexual, like what am I trying to say? That confidence or dismantling like myths about sex, maybe like masculinity and femininity. I remember that being a good one. I think Kenneth, you brought a friend, and they were like a master's student, and we were having this huge like conference in that room, just
That was
teaching those
amazing.
guys about
Yeah, he
yeah. But
almost
that had
gave like a presentation of his research.
it was literally like a filibuster that was totally warranted and wanted. It was amazing, but yeah, but that was when I'm remembering correctly. That was all circling around like um, just like roles of women and men in society, kind of. So I think things that are relatable to like the people and at this stage in their lives, like confidence,
Yeah.
how they show up in the world, like the role of their identity. Those are things that are more easy to grasp than like I don't know, like say I were to do like yeah, we've done BDSM when like maybe that wouldn't be
Right.
like it's alluring. It's an interesting topic to talk about, but maybe a little too out there. But I think everyone can get behind confidence and identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's now that you start talking about that, it seems to me that maybe it's that people are looking for information more than they are looking to talk themselves. Like it seems like a lot of
Mhm.
um, the club meetings are the parts that people seem to resonate with more are when there's information being presented rather than just an opportunity to talk about it. Would you agree or?
I do. Cause things like love talking about all things within sex. Like it's not. So it sort of is a club that's sort of dependent upon people to talk about, just go into different topics and just talk freely, basically. Because I would feel the only reason I don't format it necessarily as like a straight up information class, like me teaching this, is because, well, I don't particularly want to teach people in this stage. It's more of like an open space for everyone to talk and to share. But within that space, there obviously is education and knowledge shared. Like it's impossible for it to not become sort of like a teaching moment.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you've brought
that's
in
not my
books and videos and things like that, but you've invited other people to do that as well.
absolutely, yeah, and that's why me bringing it in just because like obviously like I'm like the person who started it. I just want just get the ball rolling. But with other people, I open it up so that they can do the same thing as well because it's really isn't leader led. It's like group led. Like I want everyone to get behind it because it's not like I'm teaching a course on like sex 101. Like it's not like a
Yeah.
class. It's a club. It's for the collective and everyone to join in. It's like that. My voice is no more louder or more important than Teagues's, than any participant in the club's their voice. Like everyone matters, and just because like I started it does not mean like I'm just gonna sit behind a desk and be like this. Like I open it up for everyone to talk and share because I'm like this is for
Yeah.
everybody.
I think that's why we refer back to that particular meeting, the really big one where like there was a lot of debating going on.
Yeah.
I feel like that resonated with more people because like everyone got to voice their opinion, And like,
Yeah.
yes, we learned a lot, but it wasn't like in a shaming way. You know, like we weren't calling people stupid. We weren't like, oh, like, you know, you're wrong and you're like we were just trying to, you know, open up the discussion to like, oh, maybe you should think this way. Like maybe you should look at it from this viewpoint. Like, and I think, you know, especially now that like with us being in college, like a lot of people are still, like you said, like trying to find the sexual confidence. A lot of us are still struggling with finding our true identities. So I do think it's important that it is more group led rather than just one person, like you said, Zaria.
Absolutely. And even with, but going back to that meeting, there was so much knowledge just because he was sharing things that he was studying at that point in time with everyone. And it was just amazing to see everyone come together and just like learn something or think about something in a new way.
Right.
But then in the same breath, like the same sense, they could also counter that with their own life experience. Like there is no one correct like experience. There's only like us trying to, create the one
Yeah.
that best helps benefits everyone involved. And if you're gonna break down some myths around gender or sexuality in the process, like that's kind of like the way to get there.
Hmm.
So I'm curious about kind of your background and your um, development, if that's the right word. How did you go from? Okay, well, let me start over. So you've been, um, uh, I've heard you say that you love talking about sex, right?
Yeah.
I guess, has it always been that way, or was there a process that you went through to sort of become more confident, more interested in having those discussions?
Oh, wait, sorry, can I answer this one first?
Yeah, no, please. Like this is
Um, I it's really weird. Like I said earlier, I credit this to Zaria because before this, I was very like, I knew that I was like kind of a sexual person, but like I was always too shy to talk about it. So she has completely opened my eyes to a lot of things and like things that I should not be tolerant of. Like we've said, like, you know, the pleasure of a man should not be the only thing that you take into consideration when you're having sex, and like you should feel more comfortable with your body and things like that. So just
yeah.
looking back, like how was when let's just say like when I was a freshman when I first came to Wayne State, like I have changed so much, like in the whole I don't know what to call it, like sexual reawakening for like lack of a better term,
Absolutely.
because of Zaria helping me. But like, yeah, it's been a great experience. So
I love that 100%. Snaps. Oh, is it me now? I bet.
Sure, go ahead.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I love that Taylor thing. I think for me, like when I was a kid, like my parents are like my mom's a doctor, and she growing up the way she did, I think she was really made it important to speak freely about everything, like and like anything under the sun with her children, and sex was definitely a part of that. So I think me just having these open conversations about not only sex, like obviously different topics, but that being something on the table just really made me feel more free to speak about it with her. And then, yeah, after high school, after having such terrible experiences and just really feeling shame and guilt surrounding my body and my confidence and how my identity essentially, I just decided that I wasn't going to feel that way anymore. Or I said, there has to be something better. Like, this can't be the only way. This can't be like my existence. Like I really want to expand myself, and I started looking at videos like my senior year of high school, freshman year, helping that would like help me to expand my confidence. Um, and then I just learned about this one teacher, took their course. Then it happened with another teacher. I took their course, and yeah, I just after going into that topic for myself, and then speaking about it with other people, it felt like I was almost like a magnet, kind of, where like people would talk to me about it. Like I've had several conversations like in my like behind closed doors, or like just like chilling on my couch about people's sexual hangups like with them. And just after seeing that so many times, I'm just like, yo, like this is something that we need to express and talk about. So I don't know, I guess like the way I was brought up kind of opened my eyes and made me feel less like secretive about it. And then after going through my hardships, I realized, okay, now we absolutely cannot be secretive about this. This is a problem everyone's facing. So yeah, that's kind of like my journey with it.
Cool. So it sounds pretty positive then, obviously, but I want to ask you, has it all been positive, or have you seen any times when talking about these issues has been a challenge, or you've gotten any like negative pushback from it or anything like that?
What do you think, Taylor?
Um, I feel like for us, it's been mostly positive. Like,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, just looking back on like when we had our tables in the student center, and we were trying to get people to come to the first couple of meetings, like it is sort of a topic that people are very shy when it comes to talking about it, like understandably for some people. But like we would try to get people to come to the table and they'd be like, oh, I don't know, I don't really want to talk about this. Or like we had that one guy that was like being really weird about it. Yeah, you know which guy I'm talking about.
Oh,
Sorry,
I
yeah.
know.
Where he was like kind of, I don't know, like condescending, like challenging us. Like, why are you guys doing this? Type of attitude. But aside from that, like it's the people that were kind of shy or like not so sure about coming. Like when they did come, they were usually very happy that they ended up attending a meeting because they ended up learning a lot. So I think it's been mostly good in my opinion.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Oh my god, just that one guy. Like, and then then you came to the meeting. Like, probably our worst experience. Well, for me personally, was like that guy came to the meeting, and it just felt like he was just judging the whole time. Like, this is not because when you come to a meeting, it's imperative that you show up with a mindset where you're open to receiving new information and sharing your own information. And it's felt like there's no real space for judgment there. Or if you are judging, then expect to have have it called out, or maybe you learn a thing or two about what you're expressing
Yeah.
could be bettered. But yeah, I think I don't really mind people. I think maybe in the beginning I was shy. I think over the course of the past few years, like just with my own confidence, like as a person, like we're separate from the club because this was before the club. Like I've been working on that, so I felt better because like it does take a lot of confidence to like go out in the student center. Like Teagues and I can like it takes a lot to go out there with like dick or like
You wearing
vagina
the
cookies.
I love orgasm shirt. Like
Exactly.
yeah, I totally get that.
It
Yeah.
takes a lot of confidence to go out there and do that, but like I feel like once you do like the worst things, then like it's just all great after that. You know what I mean? It's like not the worst thing in the world to because after I wore that shirt and like people were like, I want that shirt, I want that shirt. Like people were like, can you give me a shirt like that? And I was like, yeah.
Yep. I was gonna say like people were asking you to like make them shirts.
Exactly.
So just for the people that aren't familiar, tell us more about the shirt and about the cookies.
Oh, Lord. So basically, when we first started the club, there's at our school there's like the student center, which is where like a lot of the students pass through. There's restaurants and all that stuff where people can sit and hang out with their friends. And they have an opportunity. There's tables all along the walkway for people, clubs or different organizations to advertise and just try to get people to come. So that's what we did a lot of times, several times. When we had our sign, like like I heart sex. What was it? Yeah, it's just like join real sex ed. And but with that was my club shirt that I'd wear. I wrote it. It says I heart orgasms. And I still have it to this day in my closet. It's beautiful. And yeah, it just I got a lot of weird looks from people wearing that shirt, but I also got like a lot of positivity. And I don't really care about the weird looks because I just know, like, oh, it's just people, pushing, like, not wanting to speak about something that's so important. That's okay. Like, everyone's developing and doing different things, but I feel like having sex as a pillar, something to talk about in society openly without judgment or feeling weird, that's not weird. Like that this should be the new norm. And that's why at a certain point I just didn't give a crap. I was like, whatever, like, I'm gonna wear this shirt. I don't care.
Oh yeah, like you rock that I Heart Orgasm shirt. Like everybody, I remember like all the girls that were coming up to you asking like, "Oh my god, like where did you get that from?" And like they were asking you to make them. Like, "Oh, do you sell these?" So like that was always really cool to see because like it wasn't all like the weird looks. It was like a lot of people actually thought it was really nice. So
Yeah, I think that's something that was surprising too. Like, people will walk by and think, "Oh, that's so weird," but then like with them, there would be like other people that are like, "Oh my god, that's so neat. That's so cool." So like, there's
yeah.
always a community. There's always a group of people. Like, even if some people don't like you or they're not ready to accept you, that's totally okay. Like, you need to respect them in that, because you're still doing your thing. They can do theirs. But with that, there's gonna be a ton of people that are for it and want to see you, thrive, and just really want this to be something we talk about in society.
Yeah, cool. It's really interesting to see what how people react when you sort of do something that makes them a little bit uncomfortable. And I guess I what I hear you saying is they're not necessarily um, offended. So maybe they're like just shy about it or whatever. But once you sort of introduce the topic by like wearing that shirt or by saying something that it sort of opens a door to have a conversation that even though it's not really comfortable or publicly it's not really the norm to talk about something like that. It's like it just makes it easier for them to start a conversation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like, also, like, what is the norm? Like, people in society, like, we create the norm, so why not change the norm? The norm is like things within society that are, I don't know, tried and true. What's the word? Just accepted,
Yeah.
without judgment. Those are all things that we have that are. It's a cultural aspect. It's a culture. Like, you have to expand within that culture. Just because it's not, cool to publicly talk about it now does not make it a totally off the table topic to talk about at all. Like, it's
Right.
about the
Like I
development.
feel like oh, I'm sorry, you can finish.
No, keep going.
I was just gonna say, I feel like everyone has just become, and it's been like this for decades, obviously. It seems like it's gotten a little bit better, but like everyone has just become so comfortable with being so like awkward about sex. Like, oh no, we don't talk about that, or like, we only talk about that with our significant others and like maybe a few close friends. But I agree with Zaria. Like, we do have the power to change the narrative as far as like being more comfortable with talking about these things and like not only just sex with other people but like being intimate with ourselves and like loving ourselves. It doesn't all have to be like some secretive thing that you don't share with anyone else ever.
Exactly.
So let's think a little bit more broadly. So outside of the club, what do you see that we as a culture or society should be doing differently, or how do you think we can sort of work to make it easier and to be more open and honest about sex and sexuality?
I think about sexuality, or just like happiness in general, like just sex.
I think, well, about anything, when I use the word sex, I talk very broadly. So the actual sex act or sexual identity or gender identity or gender norms. So just, yeah, what do you think we should be doing differently as a society?
I mean, in a broad sense, I think advocating for pleasure in all realms of not only one's identity, but in society, in institutions within society. So, and pleasure is not like physical pleasure, it's, emotional pleasure. It's being happy within yourself, content, speaking about things that are wrong, feeling confidence to speak about things when they're not okay. And you could also tie that into like being in the bedroom or like being with yourself, like voicing your opinions, if you like this, if you don't like that, like having the confidence to speak up, because that's all issues relating to someone, like in their ability to communicate. So essentially just higher communication, a better ability and confidence to voice one's own opinions. And that idea permeates through all society, which is why I love talking about sex so much, is because like I don't it's not a gossip like club. I don't want people to think it's that at all. We don't talk about sex. Like, if you don't know my club, like we don't talk about like, oh, I did this last night, I did that. Like, it truly is, the basis of it is in education, and it's not like just some salacious thing. But how are we going to essentially we create the narrative and give confidence to people in this way, in like this fundamental like sex where people don't like talking about it. But if you liberate that part of yourself and you start to communicate freely on that, I believe in my heart and soul that like that strength for communication, it spreads to all of the areas of your life. So then you're communicating better, not only with your sexual partner, with yourself, with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, and it just benefits everything. So to answer your question, I suppose just like advocating for pleasure in all areas of one's life, because that not only heightens sexual activity or their experience, which is like a very small part of the purpose of the club really, but it just heightens the quality of life.
I think I agree with all of that. For me, something that I feel like we could do a bit differently. It seems like there's still a lot of I don't know the right word for it, but when a woman is comfortable with her sexuality and being a very sexual being, like there's still a lot of shaming on the woman. You're not coming from the woman, but like from other people. It's like, oh, she's a whore, she's a slut, she sleeps like with so many people and all these different things. I feel like that's something that definitely needs to be worked on. Like, just because someone is sexually liberated doesn't mean that, they should be called names. Like, I've been seeing this double standard like my entire life. If a guy is sleeping around, like he's really popular and cool and like hot, but when a girl does it, it's like, oh, she's slutty and like, she doesn't deserve to be in a real relationship and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I think is noteworthy, I guess, is I do see a lot more women being, more open with who they are sexually, and they don't care that they're being called names. But to me, like, that doesn't still make it right that they're being called out of their name for choosing to have multiple sexual partners. I don't know. And for me, like, it's just very disheartening because you try to like I know that we do a lot with our club. Like when I go online and like I see people, making fun of women for doing certain things, it's really upsetting. So I definitely feel like people need to have more of an open mind as far as women being more comfortable with their sexuality, I guess. But yeah, that's just something that always bothers me.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for individuals who are who think they'd like to have more honest conversations, and any suggestions on how they could get started or places they could go?
They could come to our meetings.
They should
I don't
masturbate
know.
more, 100%.
Right, yeah. But I know Zaria, like I've said a million times, like I've learned a lot from you, and I know you have learned a lot from just reading. Like reading can change so much. Like you have so many books on all of these things, and I would have never known about any of them if you hadn't told me. But it's just, as cliche as it sounds, reading is fundamental. So, but Zaria, you have all the names of the books and stuff like that. But I think that's
Absolutely.
always a great place to start.
Yeah. There's I think something for people to know if they're having problems, like you are not alone, and that's something that took me a long time to realize, is like that I'm not alone in having difficulties experiencing pleasure, like sexually, in my life, like everyday life, like just feeling happiness and joy and feeling confident expressing that. Like if you struggle with that, you're not deficient, you're not fundamentally, screwed up. There's knowledge and information out in the world, whether it be you, I don't know, like joining a club or even, but like not even just advocating for our club, just going out, buying books, taking courses from teachers and sex certified sex expert coaches or whatever. There's such an huge world, especially online, for people to learn things. There's nothing that you can't learn, and take advantage of the opportunities around you. Even if they're not like right in front of your face, like make those opportunities, like go online, get a book, take a course, do something, talk about it more freely with your friends, maybe confide in one friend, express to them what's going on, masturbate more, like literally self-pleasure more. And that doesn't have to be, okay, I shouldn't say masturbate, but self-pleasure more. So whether that be sexual pleasure or just taking yourself out on like a fucking date or something, or
taking
going out
a nice long bath, or like buying yourself some flowers, like just doing kind things for yourself.
Create more opportunities for pleasure and happiness in your life. If you do that on your end, I'm a firm believer in like the power of the law of attraction, and like you doing this for yourself, the universe, and like it'll give it back to you. You're going to wake up and see that there are all these different opportunities. I can this person, I can take their course, or you're scrolling on Instagram or whatever. Oh, like a course of that's happened to me. Then that happened to me the second course I took. I was just scrolling and I came across this person. I'm like, wow, so interesting. I really, really, really want to take it. And I got more interested in them. Or like it happens to me a lot with books. So just do whatever you can, create more happiness, enjoy your own life, and you'll in doing that, you'll keep receiving happiness and joy. Like not all the time, but there's not every day, but there's definitely an opportunity for growth or change and happiness in your life every day. So seize that.
Very cool. I love that advice. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Perfect.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, I hope that was interesting to you, and maybe it can motivate you to talk more openly and honestly about sex within your social groups as well. Thanks for listening. I hope you don't miss us too much, but we're going to take a few weeks off to enjoy the holidays, and I'll be back with new content hopefully in January. See you then.